Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing how Liverpool were ruthless for the first time this season against West Ham United. But before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes a long way helping me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 295 subscribers, and I just want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes, all the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely is going unnoticed, and yeah, just want to say a massive thank you, really. But let's get straight into the episode, shall we? Liverpool beat West Ham United 5-2 on Saturday, and what an absolute massive win for their season, okay? Liverpool are now level on points with Manchester United in 4th place, okay, and 5th place, obviously. They've both got 48 points, and they're both challenging for the top 4, top 5 positions, those Champions League positions, and it looks more than likely that both teams will go and do it. But Liverpool, for example, was absolutely ruthless for the first time this season, okay? 5-2 was a massive scoreline. They scored 3 goals in the first half. They scored 3 goals in the first half, okay, and the game was pretty much wrapped up from there. That was pretty much all she wrote. West Ham, there was no chance on earth that they were going to get back into the game, okay. Honestly, it was absolutely amazing. 5-2 is a scoreline you'd probably expect to see from Liverpool at the start of the season with all the signings they've made, with all of the attacking quality they've got on their side. This is probably the first time everything went right for Liverpool this season, okay. You know what I mean? Honestly, it was free flowing football. And don't get me wrong, even though they did score 3 set piece goals, in the first half, it still went to show the attacking quality because they had to get that chance to begin with to get the corner, if you know what I mean. So from that point of view, it's been a season of set pieces. A lot of teams have been scoring set pieces. Two teams in particular, like Arsenal and Brentford. Okay, they've been scoring set pieces galore. Arsenal with the free kicks, Arsenal with the corners, Brentford with the throw-ins and all this sort of stuff. They've had a few corner goals as well, and I feel like Liverpool are starting to do that as well in this week. Especially if you like, but let's talk about the first goal scored in the 5th minute by Hugo Ekitike, the French striker. He's been unbelievable this season for me. I don't know what it is about him, but he's probably been my favourite striker to watch overall. There's just something about him. He's got a little bit of everything, doesn't he, Hugo Ekitike? He is a very top quality striker, and he sort of surprised me because again I didn't really know much about him. Like I said at the start of the season, coming from the Bundesliga, coming from Frankfurt, I didn't really watch him that much, and he's totally surprised me because he's come in and he's been the main striker ahead of Alexander Isak, and we all thought he was going to be, the main star, the main striker to come in and do good, but it's a little bit unfortunate with injuries, obviously. So, Hugo Ekitike, he has had a bit of a boost in that sort of aspect, if you like. But, he's scored a lot of goals this season, Don't get me wrong, he's been a bit hit and miss here and there. He's had a bit of a dry spell at times this season, but it probably is expected. It's his first season in the Premier League and whatnot. But overall, I think he's probably been one of the only positive signings, at least, anyways, to come through that Liverpool summer transfer window. But him scoring in the 5th minute, fantastic little delivery into the box. It sort of gets played out back out wide. Okay, Gavin Birch plays a nice little crossfield pass to Hugo Ekitike on the left hand side, and his shot just goes through the legs of the West Ham defender, and it just goes to like, the near post of the goalkeeper. Okay. And again, fantastic goal. Virgil van Dijk scoring a header for the second goal from a corner, obviously in the 24th minute. Alexis McAllister as well scoring the third goal in the 43rd minute of the game. It was pretty much done from there. Another corner, the ball gets played to the back post. Okay, Hugo Ekitike sort of manages to scoop it up a little bit for Alexis McAllister, and he sort of just hits it with his shin. Doing a nice little Wayne Rooney impression there, if you like. But it wasn't the cleanest of strikes from Alexis McAllister, the Argentinian midfielder, but he will take it. He's scoring a few goals here and there. I'm pretty sure, isn't he? I'm pretty sure he scored a goal last week, didn't he, to get the winner at least. Anyway, so you know even though he hasn't had the best season, even though there's been a bit of scrutiny about Alexis McAllister, a lot of fans have been saying, should he leave? Should he move? Should they move him on, potentially get somebody a little bit better in there? I'm not too sure. For me, I do like him. He's a good player. He's started to come into his own a little bit now in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, I feel like, the whole Liverpool team have been down, haven't they, from last season? Obviously, going on a magnificent title run, getting the Premier League title and whatnot. I'm now currently 5th. It's not really worked out for them, but still, if they can finish in the top 5, get Champions League football, have a half decent cup run. I still think it's been a successful season, even though, they've spent a lot of money, even though their fans probably would expect them to, be fighting for the title. Even, it is disappointing from that aspect. I do understand. Let me know in the comments down below, Liverpool fans. It's probably the best way to judge it, isn't it? Is this season a success or is it a failure? Let me know in the comments down below. I think you can argue cases for both reasons. You know what I mean? So we'll have to wait and see. But and then in the second half, West Ham did pull a few goals back. What's his name? Soucek sort of scored in the 49th minute. Nice little delivery crossing to the box, and he sort of just gets his leg onto the ball and whatnot, and straight past Alisson. Alisson, he was a bit tricky in this game. He did have a few weird moments where I think he sort of passed it, and he sort of, Virgil van Dijk passed the ball back to him, and then he passed it straight away to Jared Bowen, and Jared Bowen almost scored, or could have had a shot from there, but he didn't capitalise on it. Anyway, Soucek, he was absolutely brilliant. For that first goal, that initial consolation goal, if you like. And, he did that. He did his famous celebration, the one where he's just twirling around in a circle. I don't have a clue what he's doing, to be fair. But, and then Liverpool, Cody Gakpo sort of scores the fourth goal in the 70th minute. Again, this one was a bit of a weird goal for me. He finds the ball on the left-hand side. He's sort of in between two defenders, okay? I think it was Wan-Bissaka and another defender or midfielder in there for West Ham. His shot sort of just goes in between both players. Nice little deflection, and it deflects straight back into the net, okay, like far post this time for Cody Gakpo, and that was pretty much, game over from there. Like I said, in the first half, it was game over as well. At 4-1, they're not going to come back. Yes, they did score a second goal in the 75th minute, thanks to their new striker, of course, in January. And he was, that striker, what's his name? Castellanos, I'm pretty sure. I probably butchered the name, so I do apologise. But he was very busy. He has been good this season since coming in, since he signed in January. I do like him. He has scored a few goals. And he was busy in this game, wasn't he? That's probably the best way to describe him. He did have a lot of good moments in this game. He did score a goal as well. But again, you're playing against top opposition here, aren't you, in Liverpool? So it's always going to be a tricky test for West Ham. So even though he scored a goal, it wasn't enough to get back into the game. You was like, what, 4 goals? You was like, what, 2 goals behind at this point. So it's always going to be a tricky one. And when you think about, the 5th goal as well, own goal from Axel Disasi, it was pretty much, straightforward from this one. Frimpong on the right hand side, lovely delivery into the box. Axel Disasi sort of just tries to slide tackle the ball out of play almost, okay, and it sort of just deflects upwards and bounces into the back of the net. Okay, I don't know where the ball was going, but it went past the goalkeeper anyways. But in this game, Liverpool definitely were ruthless, definitely deserved all 3 points, and they were the standout favourites. They had all the shots, they had all the possession, so they definitely did deserve to win this game. For me, again, like I think we're starting to see a new era for Liverpool. It's a new era without the likes of a Mohamed Salah. Even though he didn't score any goals, didn't get any assists either. I think that's what we're starting to see. Him sort of on the decline, and the new Liverpool team, the new Liverpool players starting to thrive almost, with Hugo Ekitike, Alexis McAllister, Cody Gakpo grabbing a few goals here and there. The likes of all these other players as well. I think Flivian Wirtz. I don't know if he played this game. I'm not too sure. He didn't do much anyways, but I don't think he played this game anyways. But let me know in the comments down below. For me, Liverpool, I think they're going to finish in the top 5. And again, when we discuss whether it's been a success or a failure this season, I think it's just in the middle, isn't it? There's cases to make for both sort of arguments. I think all the money they've spent, I can definitely see a lot of people saying. I definitely get the reasons why people say it's a failure. Spending 500 million and not being in a title race is like an absolute disgrace. Really, you should be up there with Arsenal, Man City, but their poor run at the start of the season, going on that terrible like losing streak, and getting so many draws as well is just not what they wanted. But yeah, they're currently in 5th place, level on points with Manchester United. I really don't want to see Aston Villa fall behind and potentially fall out of that top 4, top 5 race. So we'll have to wait and see what happens now, because will Liverpool sort of keep this momentum going? They've won their last 3 games, Very good run of form here for Liverpool. Very good run of form for Manchester United. For West Ham, it's a bit of a tricky one because they are, 18th still on 25 points. Okay, they're 2 points behind Nottingham Forest in 17th. They've got 27 points. We'll have to wait and see what happens with their game against Brighton. Okay, if they win that, then they obviously have a little bit of a lead in terms of points and whatnot. In between in between them and West Ham. I think West Ham, they just need to hope that Nottingham Forest can lose this game. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But yeah, let's end the video with some questions, okay? Were Liverpool ruthless for the first time this season? Who was the standout player in this game? How good is Hugo Ekitike? Is he better than Alexander Isak? How good is Cody Gakpo? How good is Alex McAllister? Is this a new look? Is this a new look, new era for Liverpool to shine? Are we seeing the demise of Mohamed Salah? What's going on with West Ham? Can they keep it? Can they stay in the Premier League? Is this relegation battle going down to the wire? Can they actually beat a Nottingham Forest to stay in the Premier League? Do they need, a blessing in disguise for Nottingham Forest to almost lose essentially? And yeah, before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. It goes a long way for me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 295 subscribers. We're only 5 away from getting my main target, 300. Can we go and smash it? Hopefully we can. And yeah, just want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes, all the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely is going to notice. And yeah, just want to say a massive thank you, really. Like I say every episode, honestly, it's truly amazing all of the support I receive. And yeah, I really do hope you have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.